Hey everybody, welcome back to Project Overflow. We're so happy to see you once again.
Hello.
How are you doing? We hope that you're doing well, and if you've missed any of the videos, remember you can actually go into our channel and the link is below, and you can actually watch all the videos that we've done. And we address here, Project Overflow will address issues about financial independence and also about your personal finance, and how you can go about doing it as an Asian or a Malaysian. Okay, so this is who we are focusing on. But having said that, we also do have callers, or actually viewers from overseas. So if you're from overseas, hello, nice to meet you. And if the examples we use are actually from Malaysia, we'll try to actually internationalize it. Okay, but then predominantly, we want to address issues that are here in Malaysia. So if this is your first time, don't forget to like and subscribe if the topics interest you, because here we will continue to come out with content to be able to discuss about how to manage our own money properly. All right, so we want to answer some questions today. We've got more questions coming in about money management, especially personally. So I think one of the questions asked, and this is quite an interesting one: what are the common financial goals out there and how to achieve them? All right, so I'm not sure about you, Zuan. But for me, from a very, very young age, my daddy and mommy used to teach me, or teach us as children, my sister and I at that time, that we need to actually put money in a piggy bank. I don't know why they call it piggy bank, because my little tabung, or that little thing that you put coins inside, wasn't actually a piggy.
Mine was a camel.
Oh yes, mine was a camel too. I think it's one of the bank, right?
Yeah.
So the AM bank, right? So
Yeah.
if you know that, it's actually the unta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to have that too, but I think the velvet from it actually has fallen off already.
Correct. Sweet.
Yeah, the
velvet,
sweet. Yeah. Okay, so from a young age, we used to actually get pocket money, and they taught us to. Both my parents taught us to put some money into it, but at the time, I think as much as they understood it, we were putting the excess in there, right? So, but that was my earliest memory about savings, or actually creating a money management account. What about you?
Pretty similar. It's all about savings. I guess that is where our parents' generation got it, and also from our grandparents, right?
Yeah.
So the first financial principle, financial goal that we have is save up all our ang pao money.
That's right.
And but I think my dad, I would like to thank him for taking it one step further, because he actually took that money and put it into a education fund, which also is, I understand today, is an endowment plan.
Okay.
Yeah, which eventually paid for my university studies. So
Wow.
so that is what he did. Back then I didn't understand what it is. I thought the money was gone, but yeah, that was pretty brilliant, I guess, what my dad did.
Okay, so for those of us who are listening that are not in Malaysia, what happens is the red packet is actually some token sum of money that we get during the Chinese New Year or the Lunar New Year festivity, and whereby our elders, or our relatives that are older than us, and friends who are older and married, actually give to the non-married or the children some pocket money in the form of a red packet. Okay, and so all those money that don't get to be spent actually gets put into that jar, right?
Yep.
And that's also one of the first few memories I have. And I remember those days we used to actually peek into the pocket, and my dad would say, "Don't look at it now."
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Go home and look at it. Right.
Yep.
It's very rude to
It's
do
rude.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so I think similar. We here in Malaysia. So if you grew up and you didn't have that as a culture that you follow, then maybe you can share what was your culture. Do share with us in the comments below what was your first memory about personal financial management, right? So my dad, let me think about it. We also had an endowment plan, but it wasn't from my pocket money, or from that account. I think that account was there to encourage us. We used to use a bank book
Oh,
It's
yeah,
kids-
right. The savings book,
savings
right?
book. And so every few months we go in and bank in the coins, and then you see the number growing, and
Yep.
you get quite excited about it, right? So that's it for children. So if you are parents and you've got kids, the earlier you start, you would find that those are the first memories of savings, and I think that's a really good discipline to have and to teach, right? Then again, in this day and age, I think things have changed quite a bit, because a lot of it is now through an app, and it's all digitized, and
Yeah.
and so how do you teach money management or common financial goals? Okay, so if you're an adult today, let me talk to adults here. If you're an adult and you have goals, financial goals to purchase a house, or to go for a holiday or whatever, how are you doing it to actually put aside money? Let me share with you one tip that a lot of people do, which again, that tip is actually what people do, but I don't suggest that, okay? And that's called the rainy day funds. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. Rainy day
so
fund,
everybody
emergency
say,
fund, right?
So people say that, hey, you save for the rainy day. Okay, so I personally now, after a lot of financial education and learning, I learned that savings for rainy day is actually not a good way of doing it. The reason for that is because the rain always comes. So the money that you keep aside would actually end up being spent.
Yep.
Okay, so we call it a rainy day when we need to buy a new car. That's a rainy day. We call it a rainy day when we put on some weight and we need a new dress for a friend's wedding, right? So we call it. Everything is a rainy day. A holiday is a rainy day because I feel bad at my work. I need to go for a holiday. That's a rainy day. So what happens is that account always gets zeroized, right? So then there isn't actually a long-term savings plan that happens, right? So here at Project Overflow, we actually look at some principles that are fairly traditional. Actually, it goes back a long time, over 2,000 years ago, but fairly new to everyone. In fact, this principle, I just learned it. I don't know about Zhu, and I just learned it maybe a few months back, and it was mind-blowing for me. All right, so we want to talk about this, the fact that what we shouldn't be doing is what we should be doing is to eat bread and sow seeds, okay? The seeds of the wheat, right? Rather than to eat the seeds and sow nothing, right? So what does that mean? Zuan, maybe you'd like to share.
Okay, so this yes, it is from the Bible. When I first heard about it was from a sermon, actually.
Yeah.
From a sermon, and when and the preacher credit back the source, which is also from another pastor, right? So because this saying really caught my attention, sow seed, eat bread. Don't eat the seed and sow the bread, right? So that really helped me to shift my thinking of how I manage money.
Sure.
So for me, what it meant is sowing seeds is intentional. So we actually set aside money to sow. When you sow a seed, what happens, right? Then we water it. We put fertilizer, we sun it, and eventually it will grow into a plant, right? If we sow a durian, it will be a durian tree, right?
Right.
If we sow mango, it will be a mango tree, right?
Sure.
So whatever we sow, that is what we will reap. So that really changed my thinking about money, because what happens, I mean, this is speaking for myself, is whenever I sow, is always the leftover.
Right.
The leftover. That's how
You've learned,
learn and think about savings.
Sure.
So what happens is when income comes in, I will pay whatever I need to pay, credit card, loans, and then I will pay bills, phone bills, and whatnot. And a certain portion I will budget it out for my monthly expenses, and then whatever that's left over, then I will think of, okay, do I save this or do I invest it, right?
Right.
So that is for me, that is how I always view money, and it was not very effective.
Okay.
Like every month it's like
Blown.
either blown, zeroized, or negative. Yeah, so by just shifting the thinking of now intentionally don't sow the bread, right? Because it's sow the bread and expect bread to grow, right? So for me, just understanding this principle and planning intentionally, this investment goes to what is the purpose of it? Is it to buy a car? Is it for education fund? Is it eventually I want to retire or whatever, right? So then that is what now then I found out that it's called financial planning, right? Financial planning, everything there is a goal to it, and it keeps me more on track, and it's actually, I would say it's actually not that difficult to do it, because I know if I do this, if I sow this seed, eventually I will reap this. For example, like my wife and I, we are planning to have our kid, a baby, hopefully soon, but because of practicing this principle, we've already started an education fund and sowing into it. Because the function of it is we don't want it to be a burden when our kid wants to go to school or goes to a better school and all that. We won't be scrambling around looking for a rainy day fund, right? The fund is already set, and we are training ourselves to set aside that amount, so that in 20 years time, when they are ready to go to uni, we can reap that, right? We can reap that. So that is something that we practice. And so
nice. Okay, so great. So coming back to that sowing seed and not sowing the bread, what does it mean, right? So give you a practical example. I think we heard it and we understand it, but maybe the audience is getting confused on what this means. Okay, so sowing bread means what you do is you actually earn money, okay, or currency, okay, ringgit. If you're in Malaysia, right? So you earn the currency, and immediately, if that was bread to you, because it feeds you, right? You can buy food with it, right? So then you eat it immediately. That means you consume the money that you work for immediately from that. So what happens is you eat it up, and then what is left over, which is bread. That means because it's the leftovers, right? So what is left over now, you actually put it aside. Okay, or you actually go and invest it, right? So what happens is, if you do it like that, what will happen is two things. One is the habit that you're building to spend first, and what's left over you think, okay? But if you intentionally now actually put aside and actually start to begin to plan ahead, right? That means you actually look at how much you spend for food, how much you spend for transportation, how much you spend for entertainment, how much you spend for the phone, and your internet and all that. And if you actually plan it out, and when we say about planning, this is not rocket science. You don't have to be an accountant to do that. All you need to do is take notes, okay? So that is also called personal budgeting. But also with this, a lot of people think personal budgeting is financial planning. That's not financial planning. That is actually called spending planning, okay? You plan your spending. Okay, financial planning is how do you plan to make the resource that you get from working grow from there. Okay, so if you treated the money that you make from your hard work, that you go out and work, or in your business, and you make some profits, or you earn a salary, and you treated that as seed, then you won't be actually eating those seeds. No farmer actually, when they go and buy seeds, they go and eat the seed immediately, right? We are used to it because we go to the supermarket and buy rice, and we quickly we go home and then we wash and we cook it, right? But here, if you look at it as seeds, that you can put it back into the harvest field or the ground to grow again, and with each of the seed that you put in, it actually grows into a plant or a tree which bear even more seeds, right? And from those secondary seeds, you take some and make bread with it. The rest, you are actually thinking of how you replant it, because you won't be using not even 10% to make bread for you to eat. You can actually replant those. So if you look at it, the money that you earn, if you're putting a sum away, an intentional sum away, whether it's 10%, 20%, 30%, and with the 10, 20, 30% that you're putting away, you actually intentionally put it into different portfolios, whereby some is for, you still need some funds, excess cash, which is for rainy day or whatever, but not the entire sum. And then another sum is a portfolio of maybe a low risk to reward ratio return. For example, you put it into some bonds or some mutual funds or endowment plan, like you were saying, something that is of a forced savings to you. Okay, and then another portion, which is a smaller portion that you feel that you don't mind risking to make a higher return, then you can go for other forms of investment.
Yep.
So if you have a simple plan like that, a budget that manages your day-to-day living, not your holidays and not your products of your luxury, okay, and then put goals to those luxury and how you can take the funds that you have to put it into to develop it or to make a harvest from there. For example, you could take 1,000 ringgit and see whether you can make 1,000 ringgit by going to some small business or put it into some form of investment fund and wait for that to double, and then take that and spend a portion of that, because what will happen is the seed will still be there, but the harvest from that seed, a portion of it, you can go and buy the luxury that you have. Okay, so with that, that is a plan that we believe in, and that we are also practicing, because we feel that that will actually help. For me at least, there is no stress in actually saving money or to be able to spend on a very good meal.
Yep.
Right, because it's from a harvest of a harvest rather than from the first seed. I'm already eating the seed.
Yep.
So remember, eat bread, sow your seeds. Okay, don't sow the bread and try to eat.
Eat the seed.
Don't eat the seed and try to sow
Sow the
bread.
bread,
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay. So again, I said again. Okay, sow the seed and eat the bread. Don't eat the seed and try to sow bread. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's us for today. And I hope you got something out of it. So if you've got any questions that you would like to ask or like us to, expand on, do ask. And if you've got any situations regarding your personal finance that you need help with, you can actually click the link below in the description. You don't have to put your name in. We're not asking for your email address, because we really want to share from our experience and also the learnings that we have gained on personal financing with you. All right, so we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.